Well, I've decided in the last 24 hours that I have been really neglecting going at this thing as hard as I could be going at it. I realized that, I've been at this for a while and I've been listening to different podcasts. I had asked my own self the question again, why not you? Why haven't I achieved certain levels of success as a podcaster that others have achieved that's been at as long as I have? Not that I'm comparing myself to others is in the absolute sense of the word. However, I had to ask myself again, why not me? I pose this question to you, my audience, why not you? And the answer simply is this. One of the answers is this. That sometimes I fail to fully see that where I'm at is just where I need to be. Growing up in the time period I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, high school years, there's a well-known tennis player by the name of Arthur Ashe. And in that time period, there's very few people who look like me of color in that game. And he is credited with saying, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Why not you? Ties into that directly. Why not me? So I decided I'm going to jump up here tonight. I'm going to go into it. I understand what the numbers say as far as my audience goes. And for a lot of people in my age bracket that follow me, I'm even wearing my t-shirt tonight. Going all in. Age bracket are asking themselves that same question. In our turbulent society, in our turbulent culture, job market, some individuals, perhaps in my age bracket, 50s, early 60s, have decided to step back and look at life differently. And the question why they've arrived where they're at. And in their professional life and their personal life. For me, I'm really considering where I was at a year ago compared to where I'm at now. Give some thought to it, have some conversations with my wife about it. And it is so easily to get lost in the mix of things, the daily grind of things, that we get to a point where we forget for moments even, why not us? Why not me? Do I have to stay at this job? Do I have to move? Can I move in this position to gain more out of life? Am I happy where I'm at? And as Arthur Ashe said, start where you are. Sometimes that's all it takes, is starting where you are. Now, there was a podcast I was listening to where it was highlighted that suppose you arrive one day and you're standing before God and he's reading off the checklist of all the things you could have done and the things you could have achieved, and you like, why not, Lord? Why not me? Why didn't I achieve this? And his answer simply be to you. You failed to start where you were. You failed to use what I gave you. You failed to do what you could have done. Because it could have been you. You could have had that level of success you wanted. You could have stepped into that new job that you hungered for. You could have stepped in that relationship that you wanted. All these could have beens, but it's too late because now you're being confronted with the reality of speaking to the divine one and you're asking why. When the simplest thought could have been Now, today, we have this opportunity. I was sitting downstairs having dinner, trying to make better time with my wife, and I realized that the things coming my way now, some of the opportunities I've missed is because I have chosen not to move to use what I have, to do what I can. I'm getting comfortable, and that's a thing that some of us do. We get comfortable. We get accustomed to certain things, as it was called to my attention in the conversation earlier this week. I have gotten comfortable doing manual labor. I'm getting comfortable working in this job. I'm getting comfortable accepting minimums, wherein, according to what was shared with me, I'm so much more than that. You don't need one cheerleader in your corner. And on days when you can't be your own cheerleader, pause, step back, reflect, reassess. Ask yourself, why not you? As long as there's breath in your body, you can be achieving more, doing more, going after more, having levels of success you never thought you would have. Now, those of you who follow me, subscribe to my podcast, Ladies About More Than Living, know I keep it as real as possible. Whether it's a solo show I'm bringing a guest on, I keep it as real as possible. Speak from the heart, unedited, uncut. And especially episodes like this, when I'm asking the question, why not you? Because really, I'm asking, why not me? Why not me? I ask you to ask yourself the question, why not me? Thank you, those who tuned in and had to get off for whatever reason. I appreciate your time jumping up here. If I see comments pop up, I will do my best to address the comments that may pop up. Because in this thing, called life, we have our good days, our bad days. We sometimes let the worst of ourselves show up in the best of situations. But all of that being said, there's no reason for you not, for me, for us not to. Sometimes the greatest change and challenge only begins with one step. One step. It doesn't take a lot of steps. Sometimes just simply one step. One step. That's all. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Is one step. Just one. Just one. The brand that you see up here, Arthur Ashe More Than a Poet. I'm still day by day trying to live out that brand. It came about from a conversation I had with a friend of mine many years ago. And Tyson, wherever you are, I hope you're able to catch this. Perhaps you still engaged behind the scenes and follow my activities. I don't know. But the conversation I had with you, Tyson, many, many years ago, is one of the conversations that resonate with me even today. When I was out doing open mics around Greensboro, High Point, engaging and participating in open mics in Winston-Salem. And then I started had a team of people. We started doing our own events. And Tyson, who performed, played the sax at one of the events. In one of our conversations, he was like, you do it all. You plan the event, you host the event, you perform at the event. You're actually more than a poet. You're more than a poet. Therefore, after several different variations of my brand, I finally settled into more than a poet. Back then, I was a little bit more brass, a little bit more bold. I would take a deep dive and spend my last dime to put on a good show. Worked all day, came home doggedly tired. Pack up that Chevrolet Lumina, get in that Chevrolet Lumina on mine, drive to Winston, sit at Cranky's Coffee House, waiting for my turn to get to the mic. honing my skills alongside some of the best poets in the Piedmont Triad. Seeing how things were done, hosted, coordinated, planned. But over the years, and it's been a long time, that's like 2005 or so. Over the years, I sort of lost that steam and went through a lot of change and personal change. And here I am, a podcaster, and I still have that poetic side of me. I actually did a book signing this past Saturday, and people came out and they purchased my book, Split Souls of Transition. And I'm like, wow, felt so good when that check. Finally, they get the email saying that money's coming to your account. Got the email like yesterday, and I'm like, wow. From poet to podcaster to author, I was asking myself back then, why not me? I started with what I had. No real experience, in-home training, some amazing people in my life. Some solid friendships built, some still standing even today, that we don't converse or see each other as we once did. See, the whole point of this episode, when I get down to the core of it, is this. If you don't take away nothing, take away this. Ask yourself, can it still be you? Then answer that question. Yes, it can. Will there be some tough days? Will there be some days you don't feel like doing what you do? Will there be some days when you work your job and you're totally exhausted to pay the bills and you have no real time for family or friends? Will there be some? Yes, can be some tough days. But if you're in pursuit of a degree, if you're in pursuit of a new opportunity, as far as a new type of employment, whatever you're in pursuit of, this can come with a measure of sacrifice, pain, and discomfort. But how much better would it be to stand before that divine one day and say, look, I got it. Stand before God when they say, I got it. When he's reading off that checklist and he's like, yeah, you heard me. I got it. You got it. You did all you could with what you had. And you moved with what I allowed you to move. And you used the tools and gifts and resources that were presented to you. You stumbled along the way, but you didn't stop. You kept on moving. You understood the assignment. You understood the question, why not you? You understood the answer because I'm the one. What I say matters. What I've been gifted with can make a difference. Though my words and my actions and attitudes may not affect everyone, they will affect and perhaps infect someone. It's like we see infection as a bad thing, but actually when we go get a shot, a vaccination, I call them shots back in my day, they actually inject you with some of that virus so that your body will build an immunity up to that disease. Are you infected with that thing that burns inside of you? Is it creating that healing, that power, that thing to keep you going? Is it causing you to truly have a life that's about more than living? Are you willing to do what Arthur Ashe said, to use what you have to do what you can? Back then, in those days, man, my small town of Belhaven, we had a couple tennis courts in town. And I had no idea. I was never really athletic, but I stumbled across this guy named Willie Satcher one day with some kids out there with a tennis court. He was teaching them tennis. I was able to purchase a really inexpensive, cheap racket. And then I found myself being kind of athletic, finding the game I loved. And so back in those days, basically, unless you had one of those giant satellite dishes in your yard, we had the four channels: ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. So whenever something would come on, like the U.S. Open or some other tennis event on one of those channels, after discovering that I was fairly good at it, I would catch as many matches as I could, especially those featuring Arthur Ashe, because he was a black man. He was a black man in the sport that wasn't a lot of us there, and he was exceptionally gifted and talented. He was bouncing up and down across that court. He was winning in an arena that I didn't see. I could see us in football and baseball and basketball and all those other sports, but see a guy in this game. And then today, to use his quote, something he said, it matters in relation to the question of why not you. I have been through a lot of life changes, about to go through some more. So change, some challenge. So I have to ask myself, even now, this season of change and challenge, why not me? I don't always have smooth conversations in the home front. I'm not always one of the best of listeners. Something was said yesterday to me by my wife to hit me in a way it didn't hit me other times. Centered around a job, potential work, employment. But basically what was said is that you're so much more than this. So when you ask the question, why not you, and you see where you're at now, remind yourself that you're so much more than where you're at now. Let that be the catalyst that pushes you to doing, to pursuing, to going after. Do and pursue what you got. Use what you can. I'm going to ask you now to subscribe to this podcast, particularly on Spotify. If you don't have the app, go to the website. Subscribe to Life is About More Than Living on Spotify. Subscribe to Life is About More Than Living on YouTube. Subscribe to Life is About More Than Living, a podcast on Apple Podcasts. Very specific because those are the platforms where a lot of you, my listeners, catch it. And I'm trying to grow my subscriber base to 1,000. Some who I've interviewed and some who have been in this game a while say, well, you've been in this thing like almost 8 years and you got 1,000 subscribers. The hell says, why not? It's this. I hit the ground running. I was doing episode after episode after episode, and then I let life thing get in the way. I let myself get easily distracted because distractions can hold you back, can be the reason why you're not doing. And I'm not saying distractions are all bad in themselves, they're not. We have to pause, stop, reflect, and move and breathe. We have to deal with things that come our way in this thing called life. But when you're your greatest distraction, it's keeping you from your attraction, that thing which you feel compelled every day to do, to get up, that thing which brings you that peace, that joy, that love, that satisfaction, unlike any other thing. Then when that question hits you, why not you? because you allow some things to hold you back. Now, I do some reminiscing in this podcast, especially when I do these personal ones, those one-on-ones. So now I'm challenging myself to do what I did this evening, to get up, to dedicate the time, to get up here, to talk, to share. Now, I promise to come out of the gate with some hard-hitting things and topics this year, and I will do so. But now, this particular episode, I wanted to put it out there. Why not you? Because if I am kind of stuck or semi-stuck and not acknowledging my full potential, perhaps some of you, my listeners, are as well. You need to get that spark back. Because like I said, when I first started out, I was a Google blogger. I mean, I wrote. I found people to talk to. I did a few interviews. I typed it up. Then I heard someone one day say on the radio, you have to be your brand. So I became my brand. Walking, talking, everywhere I went, made connections as best I could. Didn't know it's called networking. And then I transitioned into this podcasting gig. Along the way, published Arthur, Split Souls Transition. I hyped my book up because currently that's my number one of all the things I've done for literary projects. Split Souls Transition. You can catch it on Spotify as well. Listen to it on Spotify, purchase it on Spotify, purchase it on Apple Books, purchase it on a host of websites, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's all over the place, paper and paperback form. Now, another thing I've also done, which I haven't tied in with this, but I will in future episodes, I've launched another writers group. I haven't done that in years. Piedmont Triad Poets and the Authors Alliance. Piedmont Triad Poets and the Authors Alliance. Unlike Triad Poetry Meetup, which focused primarily in Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point, I'm tying in 3 counties here: Guilford County, Alamance County, and Davidson County. If you go to halo.com, you can look up Piedmont Triad Poets and the Authors Alliance. Long title, designed to bring people together in a community where we can encourage, network, and build each other up, as well as impact the community with future upcoming through events that I know that I'll put on the calendar very soon. Online as well, offline events. But that goes back to I had to ask myself the question of why not me? Why do I keep delaying things? But I put another question at the end: can it still be me? I didn't even type the answer up because you have to answer that for yourself. Can it still be you? For me, the answer is it still can be me. Thank y'all for catching, though, as I wrap this up. Thank you for catching another episode of Life is About More Than Living, a podcast. Please subscribe to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. It's also accessible to iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. So all you really got to do is say, hey, Alexa, play Life is About More Than Living, a podcast. And subscribe to it there. Why not you? It can be you. So if that day comes, and if your belief system allows it, you believe you will arrive before a divine creator, as I believe one day I will, it's a whole other topic for itself, so I'm not going to go deep into that right now. And the checklist, is that actually happens? I don't know if it will or not. You won't stand there with a list where you wasted your talents, your abilities, your gifts, the things that were inside of you. Even if the checklist is not complete, you will have done all you can of what you had. Thank you for catching another episode of Life is About More Than Living a Podcast. Again, like and subscribe on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you catch your favorite podcast at. Until I catch up with you again, have an amazing week.